Hey buddies, hopefully everybody is well. Well, it's Monday, which means it's the Lucha Libre news/rant show. I have a little bit to talk about today. A few events happened. September seems to be a pretty big month in the Lucha Libre world. So does October, a lot going on. We're going to touch on a few things, a little bit of Lucha Underground, Martinez, and a little bit of Rey Mysterio and the CMLL. So let's just dive right into it. So Lucha Underground this past Wednesday, seeing Evil East versus Dragon Azteca Jr. for the Gift of Gods title. This matchup was actually pretty much a beatdown on Evil East's part. She pretty much just beat the crap out of Azteca Jr. Pretty much destroyed him, but then Azteca Jr. ended up pulling the win, which I found rather disappointing. Definitely, I think Evil East should have won that matchup for sure. She definitely beat the crap out of him, yet he pushes her simply off the top rope and then gets the 3-pin, 1, 2, 3. I really, in my opinion, I do not believe that Azteca Jr. even deserves the Gift of Gods title. Having said that, he's not going to be a world champion anyway, so no loss there. Definitely, Evil East should have won that one. For sure. The shock of the night was, of course, Phoenix's return to in-ring action for Lucha Underground. He still continues to fight for his other promotions, but this was his return to the ring for Lucha Underground. He teamed up with Drago and Aerostar as they took on the Trio Tag Team Champions, which is the Reptile Squad. It was actually a pretty good, the Reptile Tribe, sorry, I usually call them the Reptile Squad, but usually it was a pretty good matchup. Wasn't really too bad. I pretty much called the Reptile Tribe to win, but definitely, which they did win, but the shock of the night was that Phoenix ended up turning on his tag team partners, which ultimately cost them the matchup, and the Reptile Tribe ended up winning and retaining their Trio Tag Team titles. Now, I actually can't believe I'm really saying this, but next Wednesday's Lucha Underground should be really good, as we're going to see Mil Muertes versus King Cuerno versus Pentagon in a triple threat World Heavyweight title matchup. Now, I'm actually really excited and looking forward to this. I know who's going to win already, but it should be a really good, fun match anyway. Just because Mil Muertes is involved in it, he's my favorite Lucha Underground wrestler, next to Phoenix, of course. But I mean, it should be good, and I can't really believe I'm saying that. Lucha Underground event should be good, so you know it's going to be pretty good, I'm sure. But let's move on to Martinez Mania. That's right, Martinez Mania took its Martinez Mania's 5th anniversary took place this week. Martinez Entertainment held their 5th annual event. The first matchup of the night was for the Martinez Cup, which is a 10-man battle royal type match. Now this matchup, you had to, of course, pin your opponent or submit your opponent all the way up until there was one person left, an elimination type match, and that person, of course, wins the trophy, or the Martinez Cup, as they so-called it. Now, the winner of this matchup was Hayoki. This matchup, in my opinion, was actually not really that great. I mean, it was good, but not great. The moves were mostly high-flying. It was somewhat fast-paced and nothing really exciting. I didn't really find this matchup exciting at all, even though it was a lot of high-flying and a lot of high-paced type stuff. I really didn't find it that entertaining or anything. The next matchup on the card was Thunder Rosa versus Sadika in a women's matchup. Now this matchup definitely was pretty much hands down the best women's Lucha Libre match I've ever seen. It was actually that good. Now, I've seen good Lucha Libre female matches before, but really actually not this one. I pretty much knew that Sadika was actually going to win it, but the matchup itself was, of course, extremely back and forth. It was high flying, it was hardcore, it was pretty much everything that you'd want to see in a really great Lucha Libre matchup. This had it, and a lot of good, of course, sportsmanship at the end, which is always really great to see, especially when you see such an intense matchup like that, for sure. Now the next matchup on the docket, which pretty much wasn't the best matchup I've ever seen, but wasn't the worst matchup I've ever seen, was Black Dagger and Black Boy, who took on Low Rider and Aries. Now this matchup was 100% Lucha Libre and very much back and forth, which I really do love. But they even did things in this matchup that I actually haven't seen for a very long time, a number of years. I haven't seen a lot of these moves and a lot of what these guys were doing. For sure. Now, of course, the Lowrider and Aries have won that matchup, which I kind of figured they would, but whatever. Next matchup, seen Ultimate Guerrero versus Mecha Wolf and versus Laredo Kid in a triple threat matchup. This one was the surprise of the night for me, for sure. Most of the matchup we've seen Wolf and Laredo team up against Guerrero before turning on each other, and of course Laredo Kid pulled out the win by pinning Wolf for the 3 count. All in all, this matchup did not really live up to expectations or what I was expecting anyway, but it was still a pretty good matchup in its own right. I mean, I expected, of course, Ultimate Guerrero to pull out the win, but they both teamed up against him and then turned on each other, and then I thought maybe Wolf might win, but Laredo Kid ended up winning, which I mean, he's a good luchador anyway, so that goes to him. Another matchup we seen was the 4-way between Sammy Guevara versus Rush versus Torres versus Ario. Now this matchup was good, but it was not what I expected. Not as good as it could have been, for sure. Basically, Torres ended up pulling up the win by pinning Sammy Guevara. Or no, I think he submitted him. Yeah, which led to Sammy Guevara ended up challenging Torres for his cruiserweight title. Sammy Guevara is, of course, the cruiserweight AAA champion. He challenged Torres, basically challenged him to a match and is going to put his AAA cruiserweight title on the lineup. Now this really doesn't make any sense to me because Torres is a heavyweight, Sammy Guevara is a cruiserweight, so a heavyweight can't really hold a cruiserweight title because he's not within the weight limits of that. So I don't really get why the challenge was made or accepted or anything like that, because simply we're not going to see Torres win anyway, so it was kind of retarded, but whatever. So the main event of the night, seen Silver Tiger put his heavyweight title, Martinez heavyweight title, on the line against, who did he put up against? I don't know how to say this guy's name. Empedimas, I believe is his name. It was put, this matchup was a Bull Terry matchup. Now it was actually a really good matchup, and I was really excited to see a Bull Terry matchup because you don't see one every day, especially in Lucha Libre. Of course, seeing this matchup was Silver Tiger ended up pulling out the win, and of course retaining his title, which was a really great matchup. As far as Bull Terry matchups go, they're usually really exciting. There's usually really a lot of action. They're usually pretty brutal, which this matchup had everything like a really good Bull Terry matchup would have, and a little bit more. It was really, really good matchup. I definitely really check out Martinez Entertainment if anybody doesn't know about them. They're a really good Lucha Libre company that's actually run out of Fort Worth, Texas, I believe. I think it's run out of there. They hold a lot of events out of there anyway, but go check them out. I think you could probably check them out online somewhere. But in actual news, San Diego has declared June 19th to actually be Rey Mysterio Day. Now, a councilman for the city had announced that the Lucha Libre legend, who was born and raised in the city, will have a day to honor him every single year. From this point on, Rey Mysterio is the only luchador to actually ever capture WWE World Heavyweight title success. But that's more than, that's not the real reason why they're actually giving him his day. Of course, he's done a lot of work for the city, including a lot of charity work and that type thing. So they're using the day to actually honor him, which I think is all right. I mean, I don't know. Now let's talk about CMLL. Had its biggest event of the year, which was its 85th anniversary show. Now this matchup was seeing Rush and Barbero win the hair versus hair matchup against Tavern and Volador. Well, I can't really say that now, but they ended up beating Tavern and Volador Jr., who they ended up shaving their heads, which, I mean, everybody knew that. It was kind of a snoozer match, but it was alright. The Lucha Brothers ended up stealing the show, of course, Pentagon Jr. and Rey Fenix. As they always do, the Lucha Brothers and Dynamite versus La Park, Son of La Park, and Caristo, in my opinion. This definitely was the matchup of the night, and definitely the matchup that ended up stealing the show. One of the best 6-man tag matchups that I've ever seen, for sure. Now, in the shock of the night in this one is El Zero and Charlie Rocker surprised me and the entire world, I think, in pulling out the win over the Los Guerreros, and they ended up winning the Trio Tag Team titles that night, which was really, really shocker, and I think bad decision, but I mean, who knows, it could go well for them, right? But anyway, guys, I hope you really liked the show. That's it for me for today. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. You know I love you very much, and I'll check you in the next video.